everybody. Today is Monday, January 13th, 2025, and I am calling the Planning Commission meeting to order here at 6:30 p.m. And the first announcement is that we had posted that we'd be having a Planning Commission social immediately after the meeting, and because of the very important Vikings game that's on tonight, we will not be meeting to socialize after the meeting. So on with our agenda script here. So tonight our meeting is being conducted both in person and online. Members of the public may attend the meeting here in the council chambers, or you can also watch online at our website, which is burnsvillemn.gov/meetings. We can also be viewed on Comcast Channel 16 or Comcast Channel 859. The public can also join in on Zoom by going to zoom.us/join, and more information on how to do that is available on our meetings webpage and also in today's agenda posted online. Our first order of business is to adopt the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda from commissioners? No changes. Do we have any changes from staff? No. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adopt today's agenda. So moved by Commissioner John. Yep. And seconded by Commissioner Anderson, who's on the board today. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Second item is the approval of minutes from our last meeting of November 25th, 2024. Any changes to the minutes from commissioners? Any changes from staff? Entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Motion.
So moved. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Third item, this will be our first public hearing. This is the application of Prince of Peace Lutheran Church for a planned unit development amendment for an outdoor columbarium and memorial garden at 13801 Fairview Drive. Presenting will be Ms. Garros, City Planner. Ms. Garros, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Commissioners. We do have the applicant here this evening. If there are any questions, this is a public hearing, and Prince of Peace Church is looking to make an improvement just south of where the church building is located to do a new memorial garden. And part of that will include columbarium, and that being a structure does need a planned unit development approval, so that is why we're here this evening. The site is at 13801 Fairview Drive. Everything in the Fairview Ridges campus is all zoned planned unit development. The only difference being across McAndrews, which is the road, the east-west road to the north of the site, there is a single-family neighborhood up there. Otherwise, everything else is mixed use. And then the Prince of Peace property is located bounded by McAndrews Road, Fairview Drive, and they do have a driveway that connects out to Community Drive as well. And the property to the south used to be owned by the church. However, at the last development, when they expanded the church, they also worked with Fairview. So Fairview now owns those properties to the south and uses them for excess parking for the hospital. As far as the columbarium itself, the site is relatively small, about 1,300 square feet, and they're looking to have it in a green space area on the property. And they have the columbarium in the church at this point and have plans they'd like to move that out. So what they're proposing to do is, this shows a site, basically a memorial garden, and one columbarium, and the other two could be future columbariums. If the PUD is approved tonight, we're approving the columbarium use, so they would not need to come back again. And then this is just a sketch. The columbarium is about 6 feet tall and fairly standard. There's not a whole lot to it in terms of construction. For the PUD benefits, it is an improvement to the property, and also it provides the community with another alternative to doing burials in a cemetery. There are no deviations that are needed for this. For Fairview Ridges campus, there is an overall composite concept PUD plan. And for Fairview Ridges Hospital is kind of in the center, and then the site would be up to the northwest. In terms of the development summary chart, this is a little bit different for Fairview Ridges, that campus, than we typically provide information to you. We always go back and calculate the various elements based on what the 2004 PUD approval was for that concept. And really what we're looking at here, there is a slight decrease in green space, slight increase of the same amount in impervious surface, but because it's such a small amount, it does not affect the overall percentage, and the percentage is what's recorded. So they are still have less impervious surface than the PUD contemplated at 57 versus 62%, and green space is still more than the 2004 PUD at 43%. With that, the recommendation from staff is we are recommending for the Planning Commission to recommend approval of the PUD amendment, subject to the one condition that conditions of previously approved PUDs and conditional use permits would remain in full force and effect. With that, I can stand for comments.
Thank you for a great presentation and report. Any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Anderson.
The pad that they're building, is that big enough to house the expansion if they decide to do that in the future, or?
Yes. This shows the pad altogether with the sidewalk is about 1,300 square feet. So they do have extra room to be able to do some additional work out there.
Any other questions from commissioners? Thank you. I think we'll move to the public hearing. So this is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing on this matter at 6:37. If there's anybody in the council chambers that would like to speak to this matter, please approach the podium and state your name and address. And if there's anybody online that wants to speak, nobody online that wants to speak to this. Nobody is coming to the podium, so we will close the public hearing at 6:38 and move this to discussion or a motion. Any discussion, or Commissioner Anderson?
Make a motion that we recommend to the City Council approval of this PUD amendment with the conditions as stated.
Excellent. There's a motion. Is there a second? Motion and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda, this is our second public hearing. This is the application of UFP Packaging for a conditional use permit and a planned unit development amendment at 14400 Southcross Drive West. And presenting will be Mr. Morosla, our planning manager.
All right. Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. As Chair just mentioned, the application from us tonight is UFP Packaging for a conditional use permit and a planned unit development. The subject site is located at 14400 Southcross Drive. It is zoned office and industrial I3, industrial park, excuse me, and guided as industrial and office in the comprehensive plan. The subject property is a little unique as we look at the air photo on the right side of the screen here. It does have street frontage on 3 sides of the building. Corporate Center Drive to the north, to the east Southcross Drive, and to the south West Park Drive. The subject building is approximately 104,000 square feet. You can kind of see where it's delineated up in this area here. Oh, stop clicking on things, I apologize. The subject building is 104,000 square feet with the office part up here. The office is approximately 10 to 20,000 square feet. The rest of it be in the warehouse. On the back side of the building here is a significant grade change. So if you look at this, building does have some uniqueness to it and some hardships due to the placement of the structure on the site, which brings us to the application in front of us tonight. The applicant that is currently utilizing the space is UFP Packaging. They create custom wood shipping pallets. As you can see here, they are storing some materials outside due to the lack of space, and that's why they're in front of us tonight for an application to bring the site into conformance of city code. So the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for an open storage lot within the I-3 district. Open storage lots require a conditional use permit, and fences over 8 feet tall also require a conditional use permit. There is an existing plan unit development that was approved in 1995 for land density transfer. If I go back a slide here, the subject property transferred approximately a half an acre to the parcel to the west so they can meet their green space requirements. So that's why there's an existing PUD, and we are amending it tonight to allow for an open storage lot in front of the principal structure. So the submitted site plan before us is on the screen. The applicant is requesting to construct a 27,500 square foot off storage area in front of the principal structure. The storage area will be screened by a 12-foot tall fence with vinyl fabric attached to it or slats. The fence will have 2 gates, one here and one here, to allow for access into the loading dock area and to the staging area itself. It is set back 60 feet from the property line and 80 feet from the roadway. Southcross Drive, this side here will be screened by the fence, and then on Corporate Center Drive, the applicant's proposing a landscape screening wall of coniferous trees. There's approximately 13 of them they're proposing in this general area here. It's very similar to other uses you see on Southcross Drive, such as Stagecoach Storage and at like Ames Construction. They use a very similar approach. We'll talk a little bit more of that in a second. It's also worth noting that the subject site is in conformance of all zoning standards as well, besides the flexibility that was requested. According to the applicant, the site currently employs about 60 employees. And according to the parking standards, the overall use of the building is manufacturing and office. And when you're calculating parking for manufacturing uses, according to our city code, it requires 4 spaces off-street plus 1 space per every 800 square feet. The manufacturing floor area is approximately 77,760 square feet, which require 101 stalls. The outdoor storage part of that requires 1 stall per every 250,000 square feet, 2,500 square feet of area. So the proposed area outside, if you take about 25% away, which code allows you to do, would be total 20,625 square feet or 8 stalls. And we're not including the office part of this. If you look at the proposed parking required by code, you would be well above 130 spaces. But the applicant only has 60 employees on site. So as part of the proposed site plan, they are requesting 72 stalls. City Code Section 11726C3 allows for alternative parking when there's events like the one in front of us where the applicant has different needs than what is proposed by or required by the parking ordinance. We can go with making alternative requests like in front of us tonight. So the 72 stalls that are proposed is sufficient for the use. And then we do have a condition on there in the event that parking does become a concern on site, the applicant shall work with staff to address parking on site. So they can move the fence, move some areas, move some things around to accommodate the parking on site. The landscaping as shown on the screen here, on the north side, the applicant is planting 13 coniferous trees. The grade does significantly change as you go to the west on Corporate Center Drive. So that's why you don't see the parking down here, as there's a the grade change. There's some additional trees here too on the west side. At the intersection of Southcross Drive and Corporate Center Drive, there is an existing berm and landscaping on there. Then the applicant, as part of the PUD flexibility, or in return for the PUD flexibility, is proposing to plant approximately 13 coniferous trees to soften the impact of the proposed fence and to screen the parking as required by city code. So the plan considerations for this one proposal, or PUD benefits, the proposed use of an open storage lot is subject, I should back up here, apologize. The proposed use of an open storage lot on the subject property does meet all CUP findings. The practical difficulties we did go over, there is frontage on 3 sides of the building, and on the west side there is significant grade change, so there is some hardship of the site that was not created by the current property leasee. And then in response to the reflexibility, the applicant is planting additional trees along the frontage of Southcross Drive to soften the impact of the proposed fence and the existing parking lot. It's worth knowing too, this plan, we did review it at the DRC meeting, our Development Review Committee. Our fire department did provide some comments. They are included within your staff reports. And the applicant did take those into consideration. They were designing the plan. So when you look at the building, the storage area, they're set back from the building per the request of the fire department. The drive aisle is a certain length. There's clearance around fire hydrants. They do not block the proposed door. I did not cover the proposed door, as is not part of this approval. A building permit is required for that, but the applicant will be adding a garage, so here to access the storage lot on the east side of the building. The garage door is 26 feet wide by 16 feet tall, and will be painted to match the building. This allows for goods and products to enter the building and exit the building. Currently, the applicant does bring them through dock doors on the north side of the building. So the recommendation, staff recommends, the Planning Commission recommend to the City Council approval of the Plan Unit Development Amendment and the conditional use permit to allow for an open storage lot at 1440 Southcross Drive West, subject to 15 conditions of approval. I'll read those. The first condition is the condition of the previously approved Plan Unit Development shall remain in full force and effect. Condition 2, the project shall be completed in accordance with the submitted plans and amended by the conditions of approval. Any significant changes to the plans as determined by the planning staff shall require review and approval by the Planning Commission and City Council. The conditional use permits shall expire 1 year from the date the City Council approves the plans unless a building permit has been requested or a time extension has been granted by the City Council. The City Council may extend the expiration date of such approval upon written application by the person whom approval was granted. For the proposed plantings, this one covers the landscaping. Number 4, prior to the issuance of a building permit, a letter of credit or cash security in the amount not less than 100% of the total estimated landscape value shall be submitted. The landscape and security will be held for 2 growing seasons to ensure that the plants take and grow. Number 5, in the event additional parking is needed on site, the applicant shall work with the city to implement additional staff parking on site. Number 6 is an ordinance standard, but we included it in here. Chain link fencing shall be black, all-weather vinyl coated. Number 7, the fence shall be maintained and kept in good condition. Vinyl fabric screen shall be securely fastened to the fence at all times. In the event slats are used, any broken or damaged, degraded fence slats shall be replaced in a timely manner. Storage of materials higher than 14 feet is prohibited. Signage is not permitted on the fence, and that's advertising fence, like a banner, or they put like access, exit signs on there, it's all right, but we're looking more towards like advertising. Then number 10, exterior storage of material shall not be permitted outside the approved storage area. Number 11, if the approved outdoor storage area is unused for material storage for a period of 12 months or more, the fence shall be removed upon notification from the city. Number 12, access gates shall remain closed except for when vehicles are entering and exiting the site, so that the area will maintain screened. That meets the intent of the ordinance. Number 13, prior to issuance of a building permit, planning staff shall approve final fence design. We just want to make sure that they're putting the fabric on the fence or slats and it's the black vinyl coated. Also worth noting, fences over 8 feet in height do require a building permit, so, due to the fence posts. And, they gotta put them so far down and make sure they meet building code. Number 14, prior to issuance of a building permit, planning staff shall approve final landscaping design. The city forester did request that the applicant do, add some different coniferous trees besides all one species like currently proposed, just in case some of them get disease, they all don't go, so that's one, that condition was added. Number 15, the prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall satisfy all fire department comments. And that's just a catch-all for the comments that are provided within your staff report from the fire department to make sure, ensure compliance with those comments. With that, I will leave the recommendation on the screen, and the applicant is here for any questions, and I apologize for going for that fast. I know that Vikings game starts here quick.
Thank you for a thorough report. Any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Anderson.
I noticed in the overhead that you had from Google Maps that there was quite a bit of outdoor storage being used already. Is that equivalent to the space they're trying to fence right now?
That's correct, Commissioner. I was thinking about actually creating an exhibit to show that if you were to take that product and put it into the storage area shown on the screen, it would be the same amount.
Other questions from commissioners? Commissioner John.
So is it all 3 sides are going to be fenced off? The coniferous trees aren't blocking one of the sides. So we're going to have fencing and then the coniferous trees to be above and beyond. Is that correct?
There'll be fencing on the Southcross Drive side.
Okay.
And the West Park Drive, but on the Corporate Center Drive, due to the topography and some of the snow storage in the area, the applicant's selecting to doing the trees in that area.
Okay, so that side's going to be open basically.
It'll be open. At planting, the trees will be 6 feet plus in height, but over time, the intent is to meet the picture on the screen here.
Sure. Okay. And then that is also the side of the building where the loading docks are, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I was just going to comment that I'm glad that there's flexibility built into the zoning code to kind of make a common sense decisions about the amount of parking. So that was nice.
And I appreciate our city planner, Deb, for pointing that out. Because we were wrapping our heads around that for a while, and she's like, there's a code section for that. And I was like, new people.
So seeing no further questions, we'll open up a public hearing here at 6:53. If there's anybody that wants to speak to this, you're welcome to approach the podium, and if there's anybody on Zoom that wants to speak, there's nobody on Zoom, nobody approaching the podium. We will close the public hearing and move this to discussion. Any comments or motions from commissioners? Commissioner John.
I really like how they're going in, not only doing the fencing and coming within code. Really appreciate that, plus doing the screening. I think that very much helps look the area. I drove up there today to look at the site, and yeah, it could use a little bit of cleanup. And I get it. The company I'm working for now, we have outdoor storage because get not enough storage in the area. So that it makes sense that you want to do this. Really appreciate you coming into compliance with the city of Burnsville. It helps your neighborhood look much better.
Yep.
And so with that, unless anyone else has anything to say, I can make a motion. I would like to make a motion that we recommend the city council's approval of this planned unit development amendment and conditional use permit to allow for open storage lot at 14400 Southcross Drive, subject to the 15 conditions that were read by Mr. Marolsa. For approval.
Thank you. There's a motion. Is there a second? Commissioner Anderson. Mm-hmm. Seconded by Commissioner Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. I'm going to get to my... Bear with me while I get back to my agenda here. Item number 5 on our agenda is updates. Are there any updates, from commissioners? Any updates from staff?
I got 2 of them tonight, Commissioner, Chair, and Commissioners. The first one was at the December 17th City Council meeting. Application for International Outreach Church for a conditional use permit for a religious assembly use at Unity Movement Church at 12345 Portland Avenue South, which is my favorite address in town, was approved by the City Council. And the second one was the City Council approved the amendment for the adult use cannabis ordinance that we discussed, Title 10, Chapter 7, Section 53, that was approved as well. And then also I'd like to take this time to introduce our new associate planner at the end of the dais here. That is Connor Jakes. He comes with a number of years' experience, and we're happy to have him part of the team. And we'll see him here in hopefully at the next meeting presenting.
Awesome. Welcome aboard. And our next meeting is tentatively 2 weeks from today.
Yep, January 27th.
Okay, great. And then I guess the last announcement is that our posted Planning Commission social hour that we were going to have after this has been canceled in lieu of the Vikings game. So we'll reschedule and repost at a date to be determined. Last item is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening.